Good day, everyone. You're welcome to Melchizedek Global Music Ventures, also known as Meglo Music Ventures. And we're going to be majoring on our major skill today. We'll be talking proper on our major skill. In the last session, we talked about the definite pattern of major scale, which follows tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. We explained that all major scales follow the definite pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So we're going to be going proper into the keys today, majoring on the white keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We're going to be starting with major scale, C major scale. See, this is the representation on the staff and on the keyboard. So this is key C, the white key before the two black keys, and this is its representation on the staff, both on treble staff and bass staff. You can see all the keys. And so we are going to be looking at how this forms major scale. Now, starting from C to D. This is C and this is D. From C to C sharp is a semitone. Remember we said from the distance between a key and the next key is a semitone. So the next key, and we said that black keys are also keys. So between this key, white key of C to this C sharp, this black key is a semitone. And then from C sharp to D is a semitone. So from C to D is a tone. So, and that is what we have here. From C to D is a tone. C to C sharp, semitone. C sharp to D, semitone. So semitone plus semitone equals a tone. And that corresponds to the first tone that we need. The first tone that we need between the keys. So that is for C to D. Then we moved from D to E, D to E. So from D to D sharp is a semitone, and from D sharp to E is a semitone. So D to E is semitone plus semitone equals a tone. So we have from D to E a tone, just like we had on C to D a tone. So we now have tone, tone. And according to our major scale pattern, what we need next after these two tones is a semitone. So let's move on. Now this is E and this is F. There is no black key in between them. So F is the next key after key E. So between key E and key F, we have a semitone. So this is from E to F, a semitone. So now I have tone, tone, semitone. From C to D, a tone. From D to E, a tone. And from E to F, a semitone. So what we have next, after this, from our tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone scale pattern is a tone, because we already have two tones and one semitone. So tone, tone, semitone. What we need next is a tone. So let's go from F now. From F to G. From F to F sharp is semitone. From F sharp to G is semitone. So from F to G is semitone plus semitone equals a tone. So from F to G is a tone. From F to G, we have semitone plus semitone equals a tone. So we already have that. Now we have tone, tone, semitone, and then a tone. So what we need next after this tone is another tone. From our major scale pattern, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So now from G to A, we need a tone. From G to G sharp is a semitone. From G sharp to A is a semitone. So from G to A is semitone plus semitone equals a tone. So we now have from G to a tone. So in all, we have tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. Now what we need next is the third tone. And then we go further from A to B. Now, A to B, from A to A sharp is a semitone. From A sharp to B is a semitone. So from A to B will now be A, the semitone of A to A sharp is plus the semitone of A sharp to B. So A to B is a tone. So from A to B, we have semitone plus semitone equals a tone, and that is what we represented here. A to B is a tone. What we need next now is the final semitone from our major scale pattern, which is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, from B to C, there is no black key in between them. So we have a semitone from B to C. And so this is the scale of C major. From C to D, a tone. From D to E, a tone. From E to F, semitone. F to G, tone. G to A, tone. A to B, tone. B to C, semitone. So we have tone, tone, semitone. Tone, 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 semitone, which is the pattern for major scale. And so we started on C and we ended on C. And so this is called a C major scale. The key we just worked on is C major scale because we started on the key of C and we followed the pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone to reach the next C octave above. And that is why we call it C major scale. So note, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone is a definite pattern for all major scales. If you choose any key and follow this pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, it is called a major key. So what we just worked on is C major scale. So let's go to the next key. I want us to pay full attention for this next key. We go to the key of D major, and the scale pattern of D major is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, if you follow the key, how we did for key without altering any notes, this is what we get on D major. So, for example, let me quickly explain. From D to E, see, D to E. So this is a tone because D to D sharp to E. That's a tone. Now the next one will be E to F, E to F. Now look at this. This E to F, there's no black tone in between them. And so it's going to be a semitone. So it will now be, E to F will now be semitone. Now, from F now to G, will be from F to G will be a tone. From F to F sharp, then from F sharp to G will be a tone. Then from G to A, following the same explanation, will be a tone. Then from A to B will be a tone. And then from B to C, where there is no black tone, will be a semitone. Now from C to D will be a tone. Look at it now. It will now be tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, tone. This cannot be called a major scale because it does not follow the pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Any major scale must follow the pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So, but this now does not follow the pattern of this D to D that I just showed you, which is tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, tone, does not follow the pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, which is a major scale pattern. So this cannot be called a major scale pattern because it doesn't follow the D major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So now we'll work out from this the real D major scale. And like I explained before, the sharps, the flats, the natural, they are used to alter notes. So we'll be using these sharps in this case of D major to alter these notes to conform it to the scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So let's go. This is the representation on the star. Now, from D to E, we have a tone. That is, D to D sharp is a semitone. D sharp to E is a semitone. So from D to E is a tone. From D to E is a tone, which conforms to the first tone that we need in the major scale pattern. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So let's move on. Now, from E to F, we have a semitone. See, no black key in between them. We have a semitone from E to F. However, according to major scale pattern, we must have a tone between E and F. And in order to achieve this, we have to raise F by a semitone, which makes it F sharp. Therefore, we have, you see, we've raised it now. We now have, so it's now E to F. You notice this key is just for explanation. We didn't color it. We are majoring on this E. This deep blue E and this deep blue F sharp. So from E to F sharp is a tone. Remember, we've altered this F because it does not conform to the major scale pattern. What we need now, according to the major scale pattern, is the second tone. And we have semitone here. So we've raised it to F sharp. So it's now E to F sharp, which is a tone. So from D to E, we have a tone. From E to F sharp, we have a tone. So what we need next, according to our major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, is a semitone after the two tones. And so from F sharp to G is a semitone. You know, you cannot start from F again. We've already raised it. So we are going to be starting now on F sharp for this explanation between F sharp to G. So from F sharp to G is a semitone, which conforms to the major scale pattern that we need. Tone, tone, semitone. So from F sharp to G is a semitone. F sharp to G is a semitone. So what we need now after this is a tone. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So we need a tone. Now from G to A, from G to G sharp, we have a semitone. From G sharp to A, we have a semitone. So from G to A, we have a tone, which is semitone plus semitone equals to a tone, which conforms to our major scale pattern. Now from A to B, we also need a tone according to our major scale pattern. And so from A to A sharp is a semitone. From A sharp to B is a semitone. So from A to B is a semitone plus a semitone equals a tone. Equals a tone. A to B is a tone. So from A to B, we have semitone plus semitone equals to a tone. And that conforms to our major scale pattern. Now, according to our major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, what we need now between B, not C, between B and C is a tone. And naturally, we don't have any black key between B and C. And so between B and C is a semitone naturally. But what we need is a tone. So we have to raise this C to C sharp, just like we did for F sharp. We have to raise it to C sharp to get our tone. So from B to C sharp is a tone. So from B to C sharp is semitone plus semitone equals to a tone, which conforms to our major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. What we now need now between this C sharp and the next key, which is D, is a semitone, the last semitone in our major scale pattern. And so from C sharp to D is a semitone, which conforms to our major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So we now have C, we now have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and E, because we've altered these notes to conform to the major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So this is the scale of D major. Now the scale of D major, we have two sharps on it. So any D major scale that doesn't have two sharps is not a, it can be a D scale, but not a D major scale. So that is that. So I believe we understand. If you don't, you can tell us, you can ask us in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer you. So now we'll be going into D major scale, and that will be the next session that we'll be having. So enjoy your day. Thank you for joining us.